There's no better bet than a sporting bet.
Well, hello and welcome to this special edition of Chasing the Dollar. We're going to have a look at the richest greyhound race in Australia, the Melbourne Cup. Of course, $350,000 to the winner. Also the Bold Trease and a big night of racing in Melbourne. Adam Pengilly, what did you make of it, mate?
Yeah, it's fantastic, Ben. Really an extra spring in the step this week. Looking forward to the Melbourne Cup and the Bold Trease. Probably not a vintage Bold Trease final, and the same could probably be said for the Melbourne Cup, but it's hard not to get excited about these big Group 1 races down in Sandown. Hopefully got a few winners for the punters out there.
Yeah, most certainly we'll be catching up with one of the all-important trainers of a big dog in the Melbourne Cup final as well a little bit later on. But now let's have a look at the Bold Trease, and this is the market through Sportingbet. It's a pretty open-looking final. Lucy Wise, $2.60. We've got $4.24 Amity Flame, the 5, $4.40 Destiny Fireball, which goes from the inside. And of course, through Sportingbet, you get best Tote Plus 5% on all Group 1 greyhound races in Australia. What did you make of that, Mark?
Yeah, it's really hard to pick turning holes in this market, but I reckon the bookies got this pretty much right. Lucy Wise deserves favouritism after her exploits in Sydney and a pretty good heat run last week. Amity Flame comes into calculations after a qualifying fastest with her sensational heat win last week. It's really hard to find too many holes in this market, Ben. I think the bookies pretty much got it right, but I actually like one outside the favourite.
Okay, tell us who it is.
I'm going to go with number 5, Amity Flame, Ben. I thought his run last week was pretty good. It was more than pretty good. It was fantastic, actually, easily the fastest of the night. I think the key to this race is actually his litter brother, Hurricane Isaac on the inside, as well as Cheetah Zorro in box 3. If those two greyhounds can spear the lids like they did last week, and give him a perfect tag into the race on the back of them. If he can posse up and hold a position 3rd or 4th in the run, he can be really strong down the back straight on the second lap and take a power of beating in the last 50 metres. You just get the sense he's one of these greyhounds that's really warming to the occasion. He's put the writing on the wall over the last 6 weeks. Like I mentioned earlier, it's not a vintage Bold Trease final. He's been improving with each run. I expect him to do it again on Thursday night, and he's going to be very hard to beat. So around that $4.20 quote, I think it's a really good bet. I'll put number 2, Lucy Wise, in for second. She was sensational last week with that bizarre race with that incident of marring on the home turn when she got a saloon passage through. I don't think she's going to get all the breaks like she did last week, so I've only put her in for second, especially if the greyhounds in from boxes 3 and 4 come carting across early. Might clutter up a little bit, but you've got to suggest she's going to be in the finish there somewhere. Number 3, Cheetah Zorro might be one to look at a bit of odds as well if it jumps nicely. It can be in this race for a long time and might give you a good sight for your money. And I only included the old boy, number 1, Destiny Fireball, in for 4th. Pretty good last week, just lacks that zip over the final 15 metres that he used to have. Pretty tough race, but I'm pretty keen on number 5, Amity Flame, around that $4.20 price.
Yes, and in the Bold Trease final, just like in all Group 1 greyhound races throughout Australia, you get best Tote plus 5% through Sportingbet. And that, of course, includes the big one, the Melbourne Cup, $350,000 to the winner. It is an outstanding looking race. Let's have a look at the market through Sportingbet, and $1.95 for the 2. Black Magic Opal has been just beating all before it in recent times and goes around the favourite here. Shifty Sticker is $4.80, drawn the inside. And then we look at Proven Maddie at $8 and have to look to the reserves for the next in the market there. Black Magic Opal, $1.95. Adam, possibly overs.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Ben. I think if you said to me last week before the heats that you could take $1.95 about Black Magic Opal jumping from box 2 in the final that didn't have Xylee Allen, Dinah Allen, Spud Regis and the like, I would have thought that's huge overs. Having said that, considering his form, I just think he's a massive price, really. $1.95 around that even money quote is just a huge price for Black Magic Opal, and I think he probably is going to win the final as well.
Okay, so that's your tip. You're not going to look for some value?
No, I'm not going to look for some value, Ben. I don't try not to overcomplicate this race. I think he's the best greyhound in the race. From the draw, he gets all the favours as well. If you have a look at the 1, Shifty Sticker, it's going to go towards the rails. The 3, Proven Maddie, tends to roll off a little bit the first turn. So even if he doesn't quite blast out of the boxes like he usually does, he's going to get time to balance up and go through the gears. I heard a few knocks about his run home time last week, but I don't think that's actually the biggest query, to tell you the truth. I think the biggest query is the fact that his inability to string together consistent performances in big Group 1 series on 2-turn tracks. That's my biggest concern. Having said that, I think he's just racing far too good. You've got to consider the fact that he hadn't been at Sandown under race conditions for a very long time, so he's going to derive improvement from that. I think he just wins this race. Number 8, Iona 7, is my Quinella greyhound. She loves Sandown. It's drawn to get a beautiful run on the outside from box 8. She'll rush towards the lead as well, and at the $10 quote is worth having an each way bet on. Number 6, Peter Rocket. If you'd drawn 1, 2 or 3, I would have been really keen on him in this race. Having drawn 6, his task can be a whole lot harder, but you know he's going to run an honest race, so I've thrown him in for 3rd. And number 1, Shifty Sticker, goes in for 4th. Have to respect from the draw. Might just come a little bit too quickly for him this big Group 1 series, even considering the fact that he's racing in fantastic form. Like I said, Ben, I think number 2, Black Magic Opal, should just win this race around the $1.95 even money quote is a fantastic bet, and my place greyhounds are 8 and 6 and number 1 for 4th.
Okay, well, joining us now is the trainer of the favourite, Jason Thompson. He has Black Magic Opal going around. First of all, Jason, how is the dog?
Yeah, he's good, Ben. He pulled up really well after last Thursday and couldn't be happier with him. He's had a good week so far, so yeah, everything's on track.
Now, $1.95 just at the moment through Sportingbet, but you reckon perhaps you're going to start even better than that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, look, everybody seems to be trying to find a negative with him and think that he's going to run home, 10.90 like he did last week. But I think, well, hopefully he doesn't. I'd be pretty confident, with that run under his belt last week and the way he's pulled up, that in his previous runs at Sandown, he's run home in about 10.70. So I think, if he can get down to that sort of time, and the only thing we don't want is any rain tomorrow. I mean, he does need a, pretty hard fast track like most speedsters, but I think if he gets that and is able to lead, I'd be sort of hoping he'd get home in around 10.70, and if he can run around 29.20, I think it'd be pretty hard to beat.
I'm sure you've probably gone through 1,000 scenarios in your head, Jason, in the lead up to the final, but does it look like Shifty Sticker to us? It looks like Shifty Sticker goes straight to the rails and Proven Matty roll off a little bit at the first turn. So even if you don't blast out of the box, you're getting a chance to balance up and go through the gears?
That's exactly the way it looks. Kiss Me Couture out of 4 runs pretty straight, and he's a fairly reliable beginner. So I think he's going to be a bit of a problem for the dogs drawn 5 to 8. And most of those seem as though they want to sort of move down to the fence. Shifty Sticker, watching sort of his replay from last week when he drew 2, and his racing pattern is that he does move down to the fence, so he certainly won't get in his road. And Proven Matty, he seems to run pretty straight. When he hits the first corner, he sort of runs off. So whatever happens, unless he did something really stupid and completely blew the start, if he does what he has been doing in his last few starts, the room's going to be there, and he only needs sort of 10 metres and he just explodes. So hopefully that happens, and if it does, it looks as though he'll probably lead, and when you're in front in any race, they've always got to get you.
Jason, you've been there and done that with just about every greyhound race in Australia, including this race last year, but it must be pretty exciting still having a short price favourite in a $350,000 Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, it is. Especially with this dog, we haven't had him that long. I think we've probably had him, 5 or 6 months now, and he's one of those dogs. He's a very, very special dog. He's got a great temperament. He's just an easy dog to handle, lovely dog to have at home. And, when we bought the dog, obviously, a race like this was always in the back of our minds as something to aim for with him. And since he's come back from his injury, he just hasn't done one thing wrong. His lead-up races have been good. Everything's gone perfect with him so far. So it's very exciting going into tomorrow night.
Do you leave any tricks up your sleeve, Jason, for a big Group 1 final like this?
Oh, look, most of what I sort of like to do in these races has already been done. So if you get in the final, my plan is always to have an easy week, and you do your homework leading up to it, and give the dog a nice normal week. Nothing out of the ordinary between the heat and the final, and just hopefully you have a good week, nothing goes wrong, and then when race time comes, everything goes to plan.
Okay, Jason, well, thanks for joining us on Chasing the Dollar, and best of luck to you and Black Magic Opal in the big race.
No, thanks for that.
Okay, well, there you go, Jason Thompson. Adam, he sounds pretty confident.
Oh, I like the confidence, man. I like the confidence. All goes well for us. And if it gets around $2, $2.20 like Jason thinks, I reckon it's going to be fantastic. But I think $1.95 is great value, so $2, $2.20 is just unbelievable, really.
All right, so you're sticking with it, no doubt?
I'm sticking with Black Magic Opal. I think he just jumps, leads and wins this race, derives improvement. I think he's just easily the greyhound to beat.
Okay, enjoy the Melbourne Cup, and we'll see you next time on Chasing the Dollar.
There's no better bet than a Sportingbet.